Formula 1 is in a bit of rut. Barring disaster, fans are generally able to accurately predict the team that's going to win every race. It's easy to guess which teams will be mired in the back of the grid, and honestly, those same hypotheses would likely hold true for the following year. Now, Sebastian Vettel has some strong words for the heads of F1. Let's get started. What's up guys, Formula News here, and here's what we'll be talking about first in today's episode. Vettel started off by saying, quote, "I think, from my point of view, Formula 1 has a huge mountain to climb in order to still exist and still, attract the fans and share emotions and passion. I know that obviously there's a regulation change coming in 2022, but I doubt that it will be enough. I think on a bigger picture, Formula 1 has to do more than just change the regulations. We all hope that the regulation change for the sport will bring the teams closer together and will make the competition on track closer." Vettel seems to be vaguely hinting to the socio-cultural state of the world when he says that Formula 1 cannot remain silent and close its eyes. Sport has been generally deemed apolitical for centuries, with motorsport especially adopting that mindset. But that isn't the way the world works anymore. More and more people are demanding the sporting world to recognize problems like racism and homophobia and to do something to combat them. It's no longer enough to just wear a shirt that says "End Racism." And Formula 1 hasn't done much. Drivers had to actively petition for an allotted opportunity to kneel ahead of the national anthem after the display was cut short and then cut away from. Vettel is right. F1 is supposed to be the pinnacle of motorsport in all possible ways, from technology to responses to socio-cultural issues. If it's not riding the crest of the wave of change, F1 could easily fall into triviality. Renault will rebrand themselves for the 2021 season as Alpine F1 team, leaving behind the iconic yellow livery and the famous French name, although the manufacturer is now moving away from Formula 1. Last week's signing of the new Concorde Agreement, the contract that binds teams to the sport, confirmed Renault's lasting commitment to Formula 1 and was followed by a reorganization of the company by a new group CEO Luca Di Maio. The Italian businessman wants to give some of Renault's lesser-known brands a greater chance to succeed, and one of those is Alpine, a manufacturer of sports cars created in the 1950s. It was bought out by Renault in 1973, but Alpine ceased production in 1995. However, the marque was relaunched in 2017 with the A110 road car, and now Di Maio wants to use F1 to promote the brand. Racing Point on Sunday dropped their appeal against a 15-point deduction and €400,000 fine for breaking Formula 1's regulations with alleged copies of the brake ducts used on last year's championship-winning Mercedes cars. The team said it had decided to accept the sanctions imposed and to move on, in the wider interest of the sport, following an agreement between all the teams on new rules to prevent any future reverse engineering of other teams' cars. Racing Point owner Lawrence Stroll was furious when the punishment and steward's verdict was announced, making a passionate defense of his and the team's integrity. After the steward's ruling was announced, Renault, Ferrari, Williams, and McLaren appealed, claiming the sanctions were too lenient, while Racing Point appealed, claiming the punishment was too severe. All of those teams except Ferrari have now withdrawn their appeals. The new ruling that has allowed the teams to agree and drop their appeals will involve a refinement of the definition of listed team components in the technical regulations for next year, referring to the parts of a car that are designed and used exclusively by one team. Anyways, now it's time for meme of the day, and here it is.